Okay, everybody, what is going on? Good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Day 4 of Seattle Seahawks training camp is now in the books, and we've learned a lot of interesting things. There's been a lot of stuff passed along, and I think that there is plenty to take away from what went down on the field. Now, keep in mind, tomorrow they have the day off, and then Thursday they are putting the pads on. So it'll probably be a little bit more informative when we actually start seeing stuff with pads on. But nevertheless, today was a pretty information-rich day. Going to go ahead and go through some of the things that were said by the various people who were there. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. So let's just go ahead and get underway here. And we're going to go ahead and start off with a couple of roster notes. This first one, pretty minor. Velez Jones Jr. is now officially back to being a running back to basically take the place of Kenny McIntosh. I made the video last night about McIntosh being waived. Velez Jones now is a running back on our depth chart. Pretty unlikely he makes the team regardless. I think we all understand that it's pretty much it's going to be a three-man backfield. Jacardia Wright would probably be the fourth guy if we have a fourth guy. And then Charbonnet eventually gets back. And by the way, there's some buzz that Charbonnet could get back even sooner than we thought. But I'm going to save that for another video, I think. So, good for Velez Jones. We'll see if he can make any kind of an impression. Uniform stuff. So, not really to do with training camp yet, but real quick, because I don't want to make a whole video for this. The Seahawks are going to be wearing some alternate uniforms against the Chiefs, against the Cowboys, and then they're going to wear the rivalry uniforms on Christmas against the Rams. So definitely a big fan of the alternate uniform throwbacks. Those are always a lot of fun. So getting to wear them at home against the Chiefs and against the Cowboys is great. The Rams one, I don't know how to feel about the rivalries uniforms yet, but we did have one of the great wins in franchise history wearing them last season. So, if they are some kind of a good luck charm, that's obviously more important than whether or not they are aesthetically pleasing to me. Okay, so getting to some of the stuff that actually went down on the VMAC field today, one of the highlights was Riley Mills doing special teams gunner work, and there were actually a couple of different guys that were doing special teams gunner work today. I think Pritchett was one of them. Riley Mills, of course, being the more interesting one because he's almost a 300-pounder. And I don't think that it's likely that Mills would ever be our gunner, but it does show how good he's feeling if he can do things like this. So great stuff there. Some injury stuff. Let's get through some of the injury updates we got today. So Torrey Horton was out there with his helmet on, no problems. So Horton did not practice yesterday, but it's pretty clear that was a rest day. He didn't get hurt or anything. Did a red zone drill, and he leapt and spun midair to catch a ball behind him, so he looked good, made some plays. So Torrey Horton looks like he is healthy and looks like he is ready to build on that rookie season last year. So good signs here, good indicators there. One guy who did not practice apparently today was Julian Neal, and that is a bummer because Julian Neal is a raw player that really needs these training camp reps. So hopefully he gets back soon. McDonald did not sound worried about it yesterday. Could be precautionary, but you would definitely prefer to have somebody like a Julian Neal out there. This is the best time of the year for a guy like Neal. So hopefully we get better news in a couple of days, but it is the first padded practice, so probably sits that one out too. All right, guys, let's take a quick break here to talk a little bit about Prize Picks, currently the #1 sports pick app in America. The app is very easy to use. Check it out to my left here. You can do player picks, where you just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Or you can pick teams, where you pick winners, spread, or total on any game or fight. The app is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Right now, they have a great offer. You can play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you have to do is use code HMA when you sign up. It's a brand new offer, best time possible to get on the app. So get on over there and get to winning that first lineup. So remember, Prize Picks, code HMA. Download the app today, and remember to always gamble responsibly. All right, so hopefully that clears up soon. Irv Charles was another guy who did not practice today. Uh, Seems like he just can't catch a break, man. It is a real bummer that he was such a good special teams player a couple years ago and now just cannot get right. But now we've got at least one minor data point here that he's um, at the very least not all the way back, and that is tragic. And that's one reason why you saw some of the creativity on special teams today with guys like Pritchett and especially Riley Mills doing gunner stuff. So Irv Charles really would like for him to make the team in some capacity and become the elite gunner he was a couple years ago, but looking a little less likely with each day he misses. Hopefully he gets back soon. Another injury note from today was Jake Bobo. He was not out there today. He left early yesterday. Might be a hamstring issue, according to Greg Bell. So we don't love that. The hamstring injury, as we know, that is something that can linger on and on and on, and you don't totally know when you get back from it, and you don't totally know when you're all the way back from it. Now, Curtis Allen did see Bobo dressed, but with no helmet. So the fact that he was dressed is definitely a good sign. So hopefully it's a very minor thing. I didn't hear anything about the Bobo injury yesterday, which makes me believe it was relatively minor in the first place, but looks like no big issue here. And at this point, Bobo's a veteran, doesn't need every single rep in practice, in fairness. Devin Eastern was another guy who was in gear, but without his helmet and not practicing. So remember, he started the training camp on the PUP, so we are definitely we're definitely looking to get him back out there on the field because he needs this opportunity if he has any real hope of making the team. So hopefully that's a good indicator. Curtis does believe that it is, but for the moment he remains on the PUP and not practicing. So hopefully we learn something good about that soon. And one thing that happened earlier today, Oluwatimi was warming up behind the offensive line at one point, stretching his legs and groin a little bit. Might be nothing, not entirely clear if he was hurt. It seemed like this was something that happened during the training camp session, so a little bit hard to know if this was something that was carrying over from a previous day, but it seemed like it happened today. I didn't hear anything else about it after this, so probably pretty minor, but worth monitoring on Thursday, see if he's out there. So that's most of the injury stuff. Jamie Sheriff also did not practice. Josh Jones didn't practice, which gave some offensive linemen a chance to show what they could do. Jaron Reed, but that's clearly a veteran thing, so not really anything to look into there. So relatively normal stuff, I would say. Nothing too shocking, nothing too earth-shattering. Jones and Reed are both guys that have been around long enough to take days off in camp. Sheriff, maybe there's something there because he's a younger guy really trying to prove himself and earn a roster spot, but I didn't hear anything about him other than the fact that he just didn't practice. Okay, so that's most of that stuff, most of the injury stuff, I think. So when you start talking about some of the things that actually happened on the field in terms of plays and highlights, Curtis Allen in particular, by the way, does a great job doing almost play-by-play of some of the scrimmage type snaps. So another player that was doing a gunner stuff with Harbaugh was Halani. You wouldn't expect him to do gunner stuff during the season, of course, because he's a crucial part of the offense now. But again, trying to build a variety of experience here. McDonald had that quote about not pigeonholing players. Always important to let guys work with different position coaches and in different roles. Even if they end up never using it directly, it ends up mattering indirectly at some point. The second offensive line today with no Josh Jones, we had Amari Kite playing left tackle, and then you had Logan Brown playing right tackle. So it seems like that's the hierarchy here. Knight is like your fourth tackle because he was the right tackle previously. Logan Brown kind of bumps up. So it seems like the team likes Logan Brown. So at this point, I'd say he's probably on the practice squad. Still no Bo Stevens on the second unit, though. He's still with the third guy, so he's going to have to earn his way up here. Pretty sure he's going to pass Haynes at some point, but it would be a monumental task for him to get past Haynes to second team and then Bradford to first team. So he's got work to do. But Haynes right now punching in at second team. Don't expect that to last. And by the way, Oluwatimi did start the day with the second unit. So I think whatever it was that had him hanging back probably happened a little bit later. Some of the scrimmage notes, we had the ones versus the ones here. Price, I think Curtis meant Price here, was the first running back up. Halani with the twos. And don't get me wrong, Price is playing with every unit. Like Price is working with the ones, twos, and threes. But it seems like he's really starting to hammer home the fact that he's going to be the number one until maybe Charbonnet gets back. Hall and Morris flanking Peely and Murphy on the defensive line. So Morris getting some work at edge, big edge, which that is the Mike McDonald style, but maybe that's where Mike Morris can actually earn a roster spot here, where he can be a serviceable backup defensive lineman and edge rusher. And that might be something that appeals to McDonald a lot. Another good day for Jadarian Price, by the way. Heard good things about him. Eludes Hall, who had broken through into the backfield. Next rep, Hall is on the right side, and Mills comes in on the left. So these bigger players that we think of as kind of defensive linemen, we're definitely seeing a lot of them at edge. We'll see if that carries over into the regular season, but I mean, I like it. It gives us an opportunity to get our best players on the field more rather than always trying to keep a tight rotation and not letting them off the field, or not letting them on the field enough to really impact the game. Price doubling up with the threes and burst through on a kite block at right tackle. So there was a little bit of a rotation going on the offensive line throughout the day, I guess, because Kite went back to the thirds. But this is what I'm talking about with Price. They want to get him an insane amount of reps. And every day we're hearing good things about him because he's getting so many opportunities to show what he can do. And for the most part, the things I've been hearing are good. So really exciting there, because that is so important for this season. We had some red zone drill notes. Cup catches one over Ernest Jones for a touchdown. Next rep, Darnold bails with Drake Thomas on the rush. Next rep, bullet to Barner on a set play, too hot, not ready for it. So for the most part, you read all these notes and you put it all together, it feels like the defense is generally a little bit ahead of the offense, but it's getting closer. And we're getting closer to the point where the offense is on even footing, which is a really good sign because I expect this defense to be the best in football this year again. So if our offense can get on their level in practice, we are in great shape. Receivers versus defensive backs only, red zone drills. Pritchett versus JSN. JSN runs a slant, catches it clean. So JSN wins that one. And of course, JSN's going to win most of the battles he's in. But here we have Josh Jobe winning a rep against JSN, forcing Darnold to not throw it to JSN. So the interesting thing here would be that Jobe ended up on the good side of a highlight play. And I almost don't want to dignify it because I think people are just being a little bit goofy. But I think that people are making jokes, but I know Jobe has been kind of the butt of the joke so far in camp because there's a lot of video of him getting beat by guys like Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed, and JSN. You got to understand that you watch these clips, Jobe is clearly not going anywhere near 100%. Yes, Jobe is going to give up stuff this year. He is probably one of the weaker links on this defense. He is somebody that is more of a good role player rather than a star or potential star or superstar or whatever. But don't think what you're seeing right now in training camp is reflective of what Jobe is going to do during the season. And Jobe has proven he is a quality player in this league. Is he amazing? Of course not. But do not start tripping because Jobe gives up some stuff early in training camp when he's clearly nowhere near 100% with the speed he's going at. Darnold to JSN could not be more wide open. So on this one, Jobe does get beat, but that goes back to what I was just saying, guys. That goes back to what I was just saying. Jobe has proven in actual NFL games he can be a good player. He was one of our best players in the Super Bowl. Don't let training camp stuff when he's going probably, 70%, make you think that he's suddenly going to be some bum now. So, and by the way, JSN, about as good as it gets running routes. So, of course, he's going to get the better of Jobe most of the time. Darnold hits Arroyo for a touchdown. Defense goes 2 for 4 on the red zone stuff with the starters. So, again, starting to pull a little bit even, right? We're starting to get some offense reps and some defense reps going in the positive direction, unlike previous days when the defense was mostly winning. Witherspoon, we got a blitz here on Darnold, forcing Darnold to dump it to Velez Jones for a small gain. Knight makes a play on a pass to Barner to break it up. So don't forget about Tyrese Knight. Don't forget about his presence on this team. I don't think he's going to want to just hand the starting job going forward to Drake Thomas for free. I think Knight's at least going to push for it. And if he starts making plays in coverage, that's a big part of what we're missing, right? Because coverage was the thing that kind of got him on the bench last year. Derek Hall had a good day today, according to a couple of different people. Was a menace, busting into the backfield, harassed Darnold into a dump off for no gain here. Pritchett was apparently somebody who benefited a lot from Neal being out, got a lot of reps. Igbenogany also. I'm still trying to figure out if Igbenogany is part of this team's plans this year, but this is going to give him an opportunity to impress. Same with Andre Fuller, who, by the way, according to a couple different people who were there, Andre Fuller is actually looking really good. So good things happening there for him. Maybe Neal's bad fortune can be Fuller's good fortune. Drew Lock throws a really nice pass up to Ricky White. And by the way, Ricky White made some good plays out there today overall. But Bud Clark got involved on the breakup, and that is not the last Bud Clark highlight today. He's a guy that is starting to get highlighted as well as someone that is coming along quickly. So Bud Clark looks good. Hold that thought, though. Now, I kind of saved the best for last here. The main highlight of today's camp session was probably Jalen Milroe. There was a lot of positive feedback on what he was doing. So Jaylen Milroe was, obviously, we've been up and down with him so far since he got to Seattle. Last year's training camp was good for the most part. The mini camp, he looked good. But then obviously he made no impact during the season. And earlier in this offseason, I didn't hear good things. And so far in training camp, it's been mixed. But today was kind of Jalen Milroe's let's show the positive side of what I can do day. Threes on red zone. Milroe takes the snap, no options available. Hits I'm Chris White. I'm guessing that's Cody White. Do we have a wide receiver named Chris White on this team? If we do, I have somehow memory hold that, but I think he means Cody White here. Bullet back of the end zone. So that was one of the touchdowns that Milroe hit on the day. So something. Okay. And then we have a really nice play action pass to Eric Saubert, running a slant cross for a major gain. And then Montori Foster Jr., 30-yard touchdown. Just lofts it up to him and lets him go up and get it. So today was a good Milroe day, and that is definitely needed. Definitely needed to see some indicator that he was coming along, and we got that today. Also, we had a scramble left to Ricky White. So Ricky White, I mentioned earlier that he looked good today. So Milroe threw it to Ricky White here off play action. And maybe the most intriguing play of the day overall, Milroe, a 30-yard touchdown pass down the field to Jadarian Price. So we've got a few different things going on here, right? We've got Jadarian Price running a route deep downfield. We've got him catching the ball over his shoulder for a 30-yard touchdown. And you've got Milroe throwing it. So a lot of exciting things in one play here for the Seahawks. Now, there was one interception by Milroe, but it was off a tip from Fuller. Bud Clark snared it, brought it back for a touchdown. So he finds the ball, people. Bud Clark finds the ball. So that's not really anything too terrible, but good for Bud Clark. He continues to have his nose for the ball. And that was basically it in terms of training camp on-field stuff. There were some other notes that I saw from assorted people. Bradford looked good in the one-on-one against Mills and Murphy. Abe Lucas, Charles Cross looked good in the one-on-ones as well. I think Rodney Thomas and Maxon Hook had interceptions today. So that's basically the long and short of what we saw on the field today. There were a couple of things that happened off the field. First, we got this from Leonard Williams. He's I may even make a separate video about this because this is going to be a pretty big deal here soon. There's been some conversations about a new contract for Leonard Williams, so it is on his mind. It is on the mind of the team, and it sounds like they want to get something done. He's trying not to think about it right now, but it sounds like this is going to happen, which means Leonard Williams must be at least thinking about playing football beyond 2027. So to me, that's great news. We also had DeMarcus Lawrence give some comments. I think his was on Seattle Sports, but for the first time that I know of, he actually acknowledged that he was thinking about retiring in the offseason, and it was a very close decision. And he mostly came back because he ultimately decided he wanted to try to defend his title. But it does kind of highlight, I think, to me, the fact that this is going to be the final year. Because if he almost retired this offseason, next offseason, it's going to be even harder to come back. So enjoy him while we got him, people. All right, this video went longer than I wanted to. I almost thought about chopping this video up into two, but I'm going to go and get on out of here. See you guys later. Go Hawks. And that is training camp day for the Jalen Milroe special.